cutscene. So last time we were adding the cutscene dialogues to the game, and we're going to continue working on that. So what we did, like initially, was displaying the first dialogue uh, from the starting scene, but that won't work. So we need some interactivity. We need two things. First one is players should be able to pass to the next box of dialogue or whatever. That's the first thing. And the second one is the world should stop. I mean, everything that is happening in the world should stop so that you can advance through the cutscene without the risk of being interrupted. Maybe. I think not sure about that one still, because the world would look more alive if it, like say the friendly NPCs continue moving around and doing their stuff when you are checking one of these cutscenes. Not sure how frequent this would be. So I think that second part, I'm not sure if I should do it. On the other hand, say for the usage that we are going to do, this initial usage, we may need them because we're going to have an NPC which is Chamino, and he's going to be at the north of our starting location, and we don't want him to be moving around until we finish this. So yeah, I guess it makes sense. In any case, what we are going to do first is the other thing, being able to pass or to check all the different parts of the cutscene. So this won't work. We will need to go into the user interface module and somehow change the mode of interaction. And I forgot how it works. I think it's more related to this other module, player state machine. So as you can see, we have a state machine here with 6 different states. One of them is dialogue, and I think it's similar to what we need. So let's see where we are using it. It's hard to check that here in JavaScript, pure JavaScript. So we will need to look for references like this, or probably like this, player state machine dot dialogue. So with your switching state here, and as you can see, this update world action, I'm not sure what it's called. I'm going to check in a bit, because it looks like this is what responds to players input. Why is this writing like this? Oh well, to create a new promise, I guess. Okay, let's see what else we can find. The update. So this is checking the state of the state machine, and if it's a dialog, then it doesn't update the world, which means in the update world action, the player can do things to interact with the world, including moving around. Although I think this doesn't affect what the other beings in the world can do. But that's a start. So yeah, because there's the update world action and then the update dialog action, where the player is actually writing, talking with an NPC. So let's go ahead and do something like that. Let's create a new state which is called cutscene, or I don't know how to call it really. Let's say just message box. And then update. It's not really updating anything. It's more like responding to players input, but let's keep the convention, I guess. Update message box action, and then we are going to work based on the messages that were set. So we are obtaining the last key. If that key is down and repeated once, yeah, this has a to do here. Instead of using the update cycle, use a key listener. That's not yet done. That may change things a bit. And I guess we can start doing things right instead of keeping doing this. So I'm going to, instead of doing this, I'm going to have a key listener, which I think I already have. And that key listener will check the state. Now, I forgot where I have that, but let's see. Here, so we got on down, we got some things wrapping this. So this happens when the player state machine is initialized, and we got a handler for the enter key, calling listen action, and this responds to whatever is already configured for as a callback. Interesting. Or a direction callback. So what we could do is setting up an action callback to go to the next to go to the next text. Set action callback. Okay. Set action callback is actually only used once here when we are doing a range attack command. So we're going to do it again. Let's try to do that. Let's try. Oh, I'm using arrow functions as well. I'm going to continue using them, I guess. Maybe this is only working in Chrome. I don't know. We can take care of that later. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to the user interface UI and then set an action callback. And this action callback, what it's going to do is it's going to go to the next message. So, but I don't like it here. No, we are going to send all the lines to the UI. UI dot show message, show scene, the whole scene. Okay. And in here, let's create the show scene function, which will receive a scene, and we are going to save the scene. Maybe it's useful, we will see. Then current scene index will start at 0. Then we are going to show the first message, and then we're going to set the action callback to advance to the next scene fragment. And what this is going to do is this. Right, so if the current scene index is still less than the, I mean, if we are not yet at the last fragment of the scene, we do this, else we will just remove the message, which means we can handle that also with this hide message. That won't need any parameter, and to do it, okay, we will then just assign -1 to this, and then set the action callback, and then show the next scene fragment. All right, then we should be able to go through all the messages using the enter key. We still need to code this, but we will do that in a bit. Let's see, the watch is gone. Forbidden. It was still coding. It was still packing the game. UI that set action callback is not a function. UI. Oh, not a function. Player state machine. Okay. So far this is only. I wonder what would be the best way to do this. Well, actually, we do have access to the player state machine here. All right. It's taking a bit. Okay. Bus is not defined. So the bus was not here. I think we no longer need it here, so we're going to just move it there to the UI module, which is at the same level. I think I will update this gulp file to let me know when the build is complete. Bundle B, bundle B, bundle is this function. I think, I'm not sure, no, this is not a promise. Bundle pipe. I think I can use pipe again. I probably can, but I'm not sure. I can't try it. Oops. Cannot pipe, not readable. I don't know. Maybe here. No. It's not a function. Whatever. I will have to dig into this because I really need to know when the build is done. But I don't have time to check this now. Well, we have a bundle catch, but this is not continuing the promise chain. So yeah, I'm deviating a little bit on the plans, but no, I don't have time for this. I'll do that later. Okay. Right. Great. It worked. Now we just gotta implement the hide message handler, and we're going to do that in the main. Where is it? Listening to it here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to do a proper build chain for this. It's just a question of priorities, but it really saves time. Oh God. Maybe it's not building. That's another thing. I don't think the this is reporting the errors correctly. I don't think it is, because else it will show them here. And I think there was probably a build error, because it should not take that long. So right, message box 55 here. I think I will not be using the gold task. Well, but actually this one takes a little bit more because of the assembly phase, but I think it's not that much. So that great. Okay, so that all right, so that works with the keyboard, but what if we want to use the mouse? So I guess you should be able to tap on the message box, right, to kind of go to the next message. So how can we tie that to the same event? Because the idea would be to make it trigger this, and maybe what we can do is also register a listener for that in the, well, we are in the UI. Actually, something like this. Let's see. Set. I'm not sure how to handle this, because I mean the source of the event would be here, would be this background, for example, but all right, yeah, I guess it makes sense. And we're going to add an event here. So I think it's called input. No, I always forget. Let's do a quick look. So we gotta set input enable and then add this on input down. We have something about, no, we still don't have anything like that. So input enable for the background, and on input down at, yeah, we are just going to emit a next message event. So then we're going to listen to that event here at the UI, and but I think we gotta do that as part of the general setup for this. In the init, maybe to do init create update start. Let's put this in the init. So we're going to listen to the next message thing, and when that happens we are calling show next scene fragment. We don't have the watch in place, so we do the manual build. Background is not defined because it's this dot background. Actually, I'm not sure if we use that anywhere else. Nowhere else. I guess it doesn't make sense to have it like an attribute. Maybe it made sense in the other in the implementation for the dialogues, but not here. It takes a long time. I really gotta fix that. Okay. Kind of property, yeah, definitely fine. Know that input events are dispatched from these dot events. Okay, that should work. Okay. Okay. Click, click, it worked. Great. So that's the first part. The second one is making everyone in the world stop. And that requires taking a look at how the mobs work. It may not be that complicated, but we will have to check. So I'm going to commit this change. which includes showing the, not this, I'm going to roll back this because we don't need this. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe we do because we don't want the player to be able to mess up the flow by doing things like this, for example, throw or showing the inventory. Yeah, we definitely need it. So that's something that, yeah, we still gotta do. So let's add that state message box here. Not the most optimal way, but anyways. And let's change to the state. So how do we do that? Switch state, and let's do that. So player state machine, switch state, and we want to do that when we show the first part of the scene. So player state machine, switch state to message box. Okay, and we want to switch back to world, I guess, whenever we go out of this, or we may use the previous state. That I like that more. Previous state doesn't seem to be used at all. No, it's just set. But I think I'm going to add some use for it. So let's add a reset state function, which switches state to the previous state. Okay, and we are going to call it from here because when we hide the message, then we reset the state. Player state machine 125, player state machine. I always forget the commas here. Update message box action is not a function. No, it's not. And actually, let's just not allow the player to do anything besides, I mean, in this update function, which actually it's, maybe the movement makes sense to have it there, but all the other things should, I think, should be better handled from separate event handlers. So event handlers, well, they are still moving, but I cannot see my inventory, cannot throw stuff, can use enter or the other keys to move, and then that works. Okay, so what we did here was allow cycling through or going through all the messages on a cutscene using keyboard or mouse. Okay, and then we have the what I mentioned, the whole thing of the world stopping. I think this is also needed in for the dialogues. As we can see, I'm going to move here, and I hope it, no, they caught me. I need to be very quick to show something. I want to talk to the skeleton while they are still moving around. Well, that's interesting. What happened there? Oh, that's a bug. Oh, cannot read property dialog of null. It still believes that I'm on the chat. That's something for Camila to fix. Anyways, let's take a look at the mob code, mob.class. So act, if this is the player, then act like the player. If this a party member, this is wrong here because it's assuming that players with the same alignment are party members. So no, but that's another fix, a different fix. Actually we oh wait, actually it has additional, no it doesn't. Actually I think we're going to have to fix that pretty soon, but not now. So anyways, if it's the player or if it's a friendly NPC or not, right? But it may also have a neutral alignment. That's something additional there. But all this is the code to kind of seek the player. And so yeah, I think we can just check the whole I mean this whole act function should do nothing, but I mean should resolve immediately if we are not on a state, I mean on the probably either the combat or the world states, which I think are the only ones where it makes sense for the mobs to act. So if we are on any of these states, I think it should just stand by like this. So let's do that. We can break this chain here. This means that this is not the player. Okay, I'm going to let the player flow like it is and just work with this. So let's do something like this. If player state machine allow mobs movement, mobs act, then if it's not allowing mobs to act, then we are going to make this mob do nothing. Just wait for the next round of things, and then we're going to create this function here, which is basically going to work based on the states. We can do a jump table similar to the other one that we have here, just to easily include any additional states. So return true for these two, else return false. And I'm curious about this state combat sync. That's the one, that's like an intermediate state when you are switching to combat mode, because you need to synchronize all the actors in a queue. So I guess when that is happening, we do need to allow them to act. So let's see, when the state is switched, all mobs will try to make their last move, calling check combat ready after acting. So I guess we still gotta need them, but I'm going to leave a note there because I'm not really sure. So let's include that state. Okay. They are not moving. And they're moving again. I think it worked. I'm going to try to, let's do a test. So whenever the inventory is shown, I don't know when that happens. Inventory mob, this that inventory that init inventory this. Oh, actually, great, that also worked for this. So that won't work for what I wanted. Let's say I move. Let's try. Is the boss here? No, it's not here. Let's try to show another message here whenever I move. And verify that everyone freezes on the spot. It's taking too long. It's ready, and it failed because boss was already declared. Oh, did it fail? Yes, it did. I need to set up a linter, ECMAScript 6 support, and that, what's the name? Browser watch? I don't know. But what happened? Oh, didn't save. So I'm going to move. Well, I don't like it that he, I mean, this NPC kind of froze in the middle of a step. Not sure if that's good. Anyways, he's moving again, and then I move, and they didn't stop. And also, the box didn't clear correctly. Why? Okay, alright. The change, I mean, it didn't change the state machine state. It just sent the message to show the box, but not didn't do a choosing. I can do something like where was that again? No, this is the actual fix. This test. Yeah, we need to properly clean up the box every time. froze again. They're working again. What? Something weird happened there. I cannot move. I don't know. Maybe that was something wrong with the test. But yeah, let's commit this part. Stop or prevent mobs from acting on states other than world and combat. And let's fix that in the message box. When you set a test like this, we need to reset the dialog lines. And probably the best way to do that is just go through this. It's ugly, but I think it will work. Let's at least put that. Actually, we can do this better. Dialog lines for each. This should work. And then I don't think we need this. But I removed the test, so let's put it back. It worked. Okay. Good. I think that covers this. So let's go back to these plans. The avatar has been summoned, arriving during the night. That's something. Fin's Chamino, well, so arriving during the night. So there's this Skybox here thing, and I think we should be able to set the date as part of the initial state. So let's go back to the scenario information, which is already here. Let's put the time of day here. So how does that sun box work? I completely forgot. We will need to find out. Well, let's see. I don't even know how to start looking for it. Skybox, okay. So inside the UI we have, oh, this is not very good. This is everything inside the same object. I think it should be in a separate object. This was made in a rush. The markers, a different thing. Time of day pass. So skybox layer, sun sprite, moon sprite. Well, yeah. Eventually, we will need to let the scenario developer decide on this, the astronomy of his world. How many moons he wants, how many suns, stars. But for now, let's keep it simple. So there will be a sun and a moon and a sky. I want to move this away from here, and I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right now. Current minute of day. All this is not good. this should move to its own class. So let's create that class, which is going to be called skybox.js, and let me check the style of modules that we're using. Module.exports. Okay, it's going to be a single object, so let's move stuff from here. So Skybox, everything, all this, it's going to be added to an init function. It's going to need the game, and it's going to be added here. It's going to need the UI layer that is going to be added on. What else does it need? Doesn't look like it needs anything else. Okay, and then here in the UI we are just going to create the Skybox. No, actually it doesn't have to be created because it's a single object. So we are just going to initialize it with the game and the UI layer and time of day pass. So let's see what it does with all this. First with the sky sprite. Well, first with the layer itself. Let's see what it does with the layer. Nothing. Let's see what it does with the sky sprite. Time of day pass. Locate the skybox and the sun sprites and everything. This, we're going to take this to our new module. If player state machine is not world, then it doesn't advance. Okay, I guess. No, it does advance. This is weird. Well, but it's going to get stuck there just retrying every second. Else it advances the current minute of day 5 minutes. If we are over the midnight, then it's going to reset it. Calculates the hour of the day, locates the sky sprite, does some more calculations, and then calls it again. Okay. So time of day pass. It's going to be called directly on this module. Okay. Sun sprite, only called here. I guess moon sprite also the same. So we should be good with this. We are going to, after this refactor, we are going to also initialize that skybox using our starting state. But for now, let's just verify that everything continues working. Scenario info. Here, okay. So let's do this in advance. So let's say that the avatar arrives at 11 p.m. So 11 p.m. is 23 times 60, right? Minute of the day, yeah. $13.80. Let's do this in advance. We are still not going to use it. We are going to do that shortly. Skybox is not defined. Okay. Players image. Oh god. I really need to install the linter. But that's not very exciting. So I prefer to do that offline. Timer is also needed. Timer, where is it? There's a machine timer. That should be enough. God, it takes a long time. So what it looks like what happened is that it was not able to go through because it was not in the, it was in a different state. So the first time of day pass didn't go through this. So we're going to have to break this down into update time of day. And then when we call this from the UI, actually this should be done in the initialization of the Skybox the first time. So oh wait, cannot read property time of undefined. Where did that happen? Did that game the time? Oh, it looks like the timer is not initialized the first time. That this is called UI. Timer is initialized when start game is called, and start game is called after the UI has been. Where is the UI initialized? I don't know, but in any case, timer, well, we don't have a game. Interesting. Delay, update time of day. This is done in this initialization, load completed. When this state load is completed, then we call create. Oh well, this is a state. This is UI is a state. That's why it has preload. Okay. So in the create we are doing this. UI.launch launch creates the game. What kind of pattern is this after init? Well, I guess it creates the game, then the initialization kicks in. I don't know. This is a timing issue, of course. Create, start. Whenever this is called, the timer should be initialized already. I think the timer should be initialized as quick as possible. But it's being initialized after the UI has launched. After it has launched. After init. Here, after the start. But okay. No, I think it should be done here. When do we have a game? Well, let's see what are the states that we're setting up. What's the main file? Let's see, we have ArthurianX6 with a run function, initializes everything, there's still no game, then launches. What is UI? This is a bit tricky. I mean, this is the initialization of the game. We're going to have to go back into the HTML file and see what's the real entry point of everything. oax.runner.run. Where is that runner? Let's check the JS file, but it's in a separate place because it's not part of the bundle. oax6.js. Why can't I find it? oax6.js. It's here. That's crazy. Oh, okay. I think I know what happens. This exposes things in the window. Runner is itself. Then it calls run. It's not clear to me where phaser is initialized and where a game object is available. Okay, here. This. Okay, then it calls preload and then init and then create. I think it makes sense to do that here in the init. Timer.init with this.game. Timer is already required. We're going to remove it from here. That should work. And I just noticed that we are again over the 1 hour mark. So we are going to just confirm that this works and also that we are setting the time of the day from the starting state. It seems like it worked. it's advancing. Okay, we are just going to commit this fix or change, which is the refactor of this skybox. Refactor of the skybox. Refactor extract skybox from UI, and then we need a way to set the time of the day, probably on the skybox initialization or somewhere else. It doesn't have to be on the initialization, but that would be preferable. So let's see, we are in the UI module here on the create function. We don't have access to the scenario data here. We have it in the other place. So I think what we are going to do is here, start game. Yeah, it makes sense to have it here. So if our starting state has a where is it? Minute of day. Then we are going to set it on the skybox. And I think the logic on the skybox is pretty open, so it should be easy to just set it. Okay, so right now 1 second is 5 minutes. That is something that we may also want to set up, but that will be later. For now, if we save this and we build again, we should start at night. 61. What happened? Well, too many equals. Skybox is not defined. Good. Hmm. Well, oh, that was weird. It's like it took like an update for it to correctly show the moon. Yeah, what happened there? Okay, so it's probably because it's not being updated. The first because we are on a different state, so this is not being called. We should probably update the time of day, right? That should do it whenever this is set. Yep, near midnight. Now this sky, I think the logic for that is not yet done. Just the position of the sky. Yeah, this is missing like the color, changing the color of the sky based on the time of the day. Yeah, it's got a single one. That's an improvement to be done. I'm going to take note of that. Update color of Skybox background based on time. And this is allow setting up the starting time of day on starting state. Alright, I think I'm going to cut here. Probably we'll continue working offline for a little bit. So thank you for watching.